Now I wanted to put on a specific soundtrack. I was actually debating whether I was going to do this today, but then my friend sent me this TikTok clip of this girl kind of like bugging out over the esoteric, occult, witchy components of Sleep Token. I like Sleep Token. She just introduced me to Sleep Token like not too long ago. But I think what I like about the most is that they're man-witches. But I'm a man-witch, so I can respect it. It ain't easy being cheesy. Now, what's a man-witch? Man-witch ate a wizard. So, you want to get into magic? I don't think I ever talked about it. It's all I ever talk about. We got 2 hours to kill, and I decided to take my gummy dose an hour early. Yeah, I'm working on a project. So what's a man-witch? It's like a witch, but what do you think of when you hear the word witch? Think of a lady that works with magic. Sometimes doing nefarious things. Trying to cast spells on people. Make money appear out of nowhere. Then you got your movie witches. What is this? What are you doing? Pick up the pace, bud. What's a man-witch? A man-witch is a man-witch. It's a man who practices witchcraft. Why would a man want to practice witchcraft? Lots of not just cast spells on people and make money appear out of thin air. You know, Aleister Crowley's coming to my mind. I think anyway, I like to believe that anybody that does any kind of work with magic has heard of Aleister Crowley before. Are we getting it? Is that what we're doing today? We're gonna get into the into the social structures of the witching and wizarding world. Yeah, why not? I still have a cough. I'm not 100% yet. I have a lot on my mind too, but well, maybe that's a good thing. She always seems to, like, my friend, she always seems to follow this divine timing. Pops up right when I need her. So, what's a Man-Wytch? Man-Wytch? It's a man who practices witchcraft. But why? Why would a man practice witchcraft? It's not an easy thing to answer. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'm going to get real convoluted with it. It's just something. Well, you know what? How about instead of answering for other people, you just answer for yourself? Because answer for yourself, and you'll probably be surprised how many other people you're answering for. You know, it's like it's just something that I felt called to. I know that's literally it. It was just something I felt called to know more about. So you were interested in it. That's a way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is that it was also interested in the fact that I was interested. Or that it had always been there from the beginning. And that it was grooming me to be better situated, to be better acquainted with the type of life experiences required to make sense of it. Now, I didn't start off as a Man-Wytch. That was something I had to build up to. It started with an interest in conspiracy theories. Now, growing up, I grew up with witches. Now, granted, mind you, they don't call themselves witches. Like the ladies in my family, if you say, "Are you a witch?" Chances are they'll say no. Chances are. Not all. grandmother will deny it, but you just have a conversation with her for 5 minutes and and you'll probably be convinced that she's actually the wife of the devil. But when I grew up, when I was small, my parents separated pretty early. Probably around like five-ish, 6 latest. So my mother, my sister, and I, we went to go live with my grandmother. But my 2 uncles and my aunt were living with her at the same time. So we were all kind of like cooped up. Now I'd be in my room playing, but I'd hear the ladies talking. Because grandma, mommy, and auntie, they'd have their little knitting circle, so to speak. And I'd overhear their conversations. And they would talk about some fucking creepy shit. And what I mean by that is, like, they would have conversations that would actually scare the shit out of me. Scare the shit out of me, but also like fascinate the fuck out of me, because I wanted to know more. But I was a kid, and in my family, children weren't encouraged to speak their minds. And typically what would happen is if a child spoke their mind, they'd be kind of shut down pretty quick. I remember, now mind you, I was also the oldest. So I was a little bit more willful than my siblings. I remember, like, one time when I was 13, we were having a family dinner. I think it might have been the first time I had sushi. And I was surrounded by smokers. My mother smoked, my stepfather smoked, my aunt smoked, one of my uncles smoked, my step-aunt smoked. Everybody smoked. My father smoked. They just smoke in the house. But I remember we were at dinner, and I forget exactly the topic of conversation, but I wanted to be included because I don't like not being included in things. And so I remember chiming in my piece because I tried being like vulnerable and open with the adults, and I said. And I confessed, no, I think I was 9 or 10. I confessed that I had put consideration into it and that I was interested in smoking when I got older. To try it out, see what it was like. And, wait. When I'm older, I'd like to try out smoking to see what it's like. No, you're not gonna do that. That's stupid. All right. But that's what everybody else does. It's what I thought. See, at that point, I have this thing where I don't care. Not that I don't like confrontation. I don't like having to argue my point. Maybe this is why, but I remember just sitting there after hearing that, like just thinking like, fuck you. Fuck you for not letting me talk. Thank you, fuck you for not respecting me being honest. You're all fucking idiots anyway, and I don't want to fucking grow up to be like you. That's why I'm gonna kill myself when I'm 30. That's why I don't ever have to worry about turning into any of you. Which is exactly what happened. But I remember the ladies, my mom, my aunt, my grandmother. I remember overhearing them. And they'd be talking about psychics they went to. They'd be talking about like astrology shit I didn't understand. Ghosts, spirits, aliens, curses. For a time, I was pretty convinced that my grandmother's main activity was putting curses on people. For good reason. She also get carried around with her a deck of tarot cards, which I wasn't familiar with at all. I didn't know what they were called until later. But I know them. I remember them. I knew them throughout my life. Like, I always knew that these were all things. I knew magic was a thing. I knew curses, hexes were a thing. I mean, these things were like, they were a part of my life to that much of a degree. I never got into it though. Maybe because I didn't know how. I wasn't really sure how someone becomes an astrologer or how someone becomes a witch or what it even means to be called to something. Called to something bigger than yourself. I mean, people call it fate, people call it destiny. Some people call it coincidence, chance. I remember when that movie The Craft came out. I was a teenager. It broke my heart because I was convinced none of it was real, and I didn't like the fact that life was so fucking boring and mundane. But there was always like this little thing inside of me that just like always got turned on by that kind of talk. Because it was so fascinating to me. I mean, there was a time I used to put on this mask where I would call astrology and tarot cards bullshit, but that was only because I was afraid. I was afraid of it. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know how to interpret it. I didn't know why it worked the way that it did. All I know is that all I know is that when my grandmother and I were home one day when she was watching me, we were in the living room watching TV, and she had her deck on a food tray in front of her, and a death card was facing out, and I was reaching over to grab them because I wanted to touch them and I wanted to look at them. I had to look at them. And before my hand could even fucking touch them, she said, don't touch those or you'll be cursed. And her scary old Italian lady voice. And I fucking pulled my arm back and I never fucking touched those things. I didn't want nothing to fucking do with them. Because I did not want a fucking curse on my head. I already felt cursed. But at the same time, my grandmother did also introduce me to gray aliens. She had books and books. Anytime there was a fucking movie or a documentary on, she'd have me there watching it with her. Which became more of a fascination to me, which is trying to understand this whole alien debacle. I was more focused there than I was on the magic side of things. Although, if you ask me today, what I would say to my younger self then, it would be, it's all relative. But that's not going to make sense until you're about 38 years old, when you've gone through all the shit that you needed to go through in order to make sense of all the other shit. Aliens, extraterrestrials, that was my gateway drug. Because as a kid, like I used to, as much as it used to scare me and I used to hear these things in my head, I used to feel them around me. I wasn't sure. I was like Fox Mulder. I want to believe. I don't know what the fuck these feelings, why this fear is so intense, but I believe that they're there. But there was always this conflicting perspective where one person would say, oh, they're real. Another person would say, no, that's not real. And even from my little kid mind, I kind of grasped. I'm like, all right, well, this is a little confusing because someone's not telling the truth. I wasn't capable of considering at the time that both parties were smudging a little bit. Both parties are leaving out a side of the story that would help the case of the other person. If that makes sense. No, extraterrestrials don't exist. But everything is extraterrestrial. What? Yeah, extraterrestrials exist. But they don't exist in the physical reality. What? The fuck? Not the one that we're in. What are you talking about? What is it fucking... What? But what helped reconcile all of that and make it make sense in my own head is studying metaphysics. Because if you understand how metaphysics works and the layers, the multi-layered components of reality, then yeah, okay, that makes sense. I get that. And so over the years, I was, like I said, over the years, studying and understanding conspiracy theories was a backdoor hobby of mine. All the way throughout my life. Now, I knew about people like psychics. I never met one. But I had heard about them, so I knew they existed. Were they for real? I don't know. All I know is just the stories I heard my mom and my aunt, my grandmother tell. I know those stories made me go, huh? And in a way, if I'm going to be completely honest, like, there was a part of me that didn't want to believe it. And the reason I didn't want to believe it was because I didn't want to believe that I was any less special than anybody else. I hated the idea of other people being more special than me. I wanted something that made me stood out. And I didn't like the idea that people had special powers that I wasn't given access to. I didn't think it was fair. And over the course of the years, like, I had experiences enough that made me consider that I could do what those people did. But at the same time, I used to tell myself, it's just a trick in your mind. You're just imagining this shit. It's not real. It's just your brain playing tricks on you. Yeah, but that was really weird. Doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. It's all in your head. Which is funny because all these years later, I could look back on that advice that I was giving, myself. I go, no, you're right. It was. But that's what makes it. That's where the psychic component comes in, because, yeah, that whole thing was just in my head, but that's what being a psychic is. One who is able to understand the psychic components of themselves. It's not about reading other people's minds, it's about being able to read your own mind. A good psychic can read their own mind. That's stupid. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Ask anybody, what is it? What's your purpose in life? Who are you? Huh? What do you mean? I'm Derek. No, I mean, like, who are you, though? I'm Derek. I also go by Toxic, Mr. Demon. Like, I don't know. What do you mean? Yeah, exactly. Oh, I'm a guy that works at a job. No, I know, but who are you? I don't know. I don't know who I am. What's a Man-Wytch? Why would a man want to practice witchcraft? Why wouldn't he? To better understand things? For instance, is this shit real? How the fuck does this even work? Why does it work? Because, yeah, like, I wasn't really formally introduced to tarot until I took the time to actually go looking for it. But the reason I went looking for it was because it was just the next evolutionary step from where I had been. That makes sense. It all starts with conspiracy theories. And accepting the fact that two things can be true at the same time. Two opposing things can be true at the same time. Just depending on which way you're looking at it from. If you didn't know that ants were a thing, and I try to explain to you how an ant colony works, you'd probably show some interest, but also go, yeah, I've never seen that before. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Hey, don't touch that fire or you're gonna get burned. What? Don't tell me what to do. I hate being told what to do. So, I studied conspiracy theories. That had always been my thing. I always had like a nice collection of books. I think the intrigue was the not ever really knowing for sure what is or isn't real, but then also being open-minded enough to go like, you know what? I don't really know. I wasn't there, you know? I know this is not a popular thing to say, but even with like something like the Holocaust, right? Like, I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't see it happen. Sorry. Like, I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying I wasn't there to see it. Like, I don't know. I'm one of those people where, like, I'm not saying I'm not going to take your word for it, but also I'm not just going to fucking pretend like you got all the answers. I mean, everybody knows that saying, like, history is written by the victors. But what's funny is that saying's only convenient when it's convenient. As long as it's not going, unless it's not going against the grain. And it's interesting because like you get into stories about the New World Order and the Illuminati and the things that they do, and knowing what I know now of how those operations work, how they're explained at least, is like, yeah, that's magic right there. What they're doing is like a form of black magic. That's not good because you can't see it. Unless you're actively looking to look for it. But then even if you see it, you get labeled and name called. But then one day QAnon happened, and that popped up in my life like right at a time when I really needed it. Because I had just previously discovered my writing voice. Found my voice. And I realized that like I needed to do something different. I needed to do something different with my life. And somehow find more independence. In the sense that I just couldn't fucking work for anybody anymore. It was a hard time in my life. But what was interesting about this whole Q thing was how it was connecting dots that people like me had been trying to connect for a really long time. And they did it in a way that made enough sense to us that were involved that it was like, all right, maybe we should give this a little bit more attention. They started getting into Freemasonry, Satanism, dark occultism. It's almost like an oxymoron, but... Well, it's almost like a double negative, but the opposite of that, like a double positive. Because occult means dark. So to say a dark occultism is like, what? But But there's two sides to it. There's dark occultism and then there's light occultism. Then you have dark light occultism and dark occultism, light dark occultism, light occultism. Why would a man want to practice witchcraft? To expand on their own thinking, which was a principle that QAnon used to push a lot, which was expand your thinking. Don't get so fucking caught up with what you're told, because how much of what you're told do you really know is real? You really don't. And I think like a big part of QAnon was the fact that it wasn't about just listening and being told what is what. Like there was an active push for those people involved to don't take my word for it. Go look for that shit yourself. This is all open source. This is all public knowledge. If you dig deep enough, you'll find what you're looking for. You may not like what you find, but you'll find it. I found a lot of dark and scary shit. Just going off on my own and digging into things the way that I imagined that a journalist would look into it. Please leave me alone. This is the last time we talk. It's for the best. It's for the best that we don't talk anymore. It's going to hurt and it's going to suck, but I can't keep on going on like this. I'm sorry. I know I say I don't normally give up, but I'm giving up now. I have to, just for my own sake. Because no one is going to prioritize me the way that I need to be prioritized except for me. And it hurts too much. It hurts too much for me to carry this all on myself. So please fuck off and leave me the fuck alone forever and ever. Because I feel like the only other way to make that happen is to be really mean. I don't have anything mean to say. Because I think I'm too much in love with you. And I hate you for it. Like, I kind of wish you would just let me go, because I think I've proven to myself that I can do it. But at the same time, I'm starting to realize, like, I don't think you can let me go. So I don't know. Maybe I have to give you a reason to. You're barking up the wrong tree. Just keep it moving. Make life easy for the both of us. Because if we can't do anything with this, then this has to go away. Because I don't think this is safe for me. So it's probably better off that I hurt you before you can hurt me. And the only way I can think of hurting you is just by not talking to you anymore. And then making you think that I ghosted you. I mean, I think that's what people do. That's normal. That's normal behavior. That's totally normal behavior. What am I talking about? That's probably more normal than... God, I fucking hate you. I try, I do my best, but it doesn't work. It doesn't last. Like, I write it down. God, get her out of my life, please. I hate her. She's the worst human being ever. And I can get myself into a froth, but it fucking fizzles out. It's so annoying. And then the more that I do it, it's like as soon as I fucking get you out of my head is when you pop back into my life. And it's not even like popping into my life, it's a message. It's the same thing. And then I come back to this place. Not this place. This place.
Ringtone, pick up your phone. Ringtone, pick up the phone. Ring.
Hello? You're not talking to a regular human. Hello? Oh, do not have it. Oh, God damn it. Automated fucking calls. That's all it ever calls me. I don't get any good calls. Sometimes from my sister, but... I think she's the only person that actually calls me. Oh, these go for 2 hours, by the way, now. I want to make them as unattractive as possible. So it was a post from QAnon that really kind of got me off, which was about how Satanism had infected all of the governments, most of the governments. How Satanism was a driving force behind all of the major control systems that governed over people's lives. Now, in a way, like, people can argue, like, that's crazy talk. Satan's not real. Well, that's the point. That's Satanism. Satanism is like chaos magic. Its best practitioners don't believe in it. It's backwards thinking, I know. Being a witch, a magician, a wizard, a warlock, a necromancer, a psychic, to some degree. Well, no. You have to be able to think from the perspective of the future and from the perspective of the past, as well as the perspective from the present. So you basically got to be in 3 places all at once. Well, 4, actually. You got to be in the past, in the future, in the present, and you have to be right now. What? Right now is the present. Yes and no. Being in the present moment here is not always being in the present moment, not being right now. Try having a conversation with somebody and thinking from 4 different places at once. How the fuck did I get to this point? Where are we going with this? What are we both doing right now? Like, why aren't we together right now? Instead of me trying to record myself having a conversation about something I'm interested in while also reconciling, what the fuck just happened? How did this happen again? And how has this just been recycling itself for 2 years now? Fucking hell. This is happening for me. That's what that alarm was saying. Which means that it should be the hour of Mars right now. You may have missed our expose on planetary hours. Plus the fucking massive breakthrough I had last night. Oh my god. I'm leaving human reality. And I'm gonna lose my friend. Because she's the one person in the entire world that I don't want to lose. Which is why she's the one person in the entire world I have to lose. I'll lose everybody. I don't give a fuck. If I have to lose her, then I gotta lose everybody. I can't continue to talk about what I feel and not get acknowledged about it. Even if it's just like, you gotta stop. I mean, I understand that it's difficult, but I don't want to do it anymore. What better do you have? Nothing. That's the depressing part. 'Cause I really don't. It's just such an annoying thing. It's like a twin flame thing, but I don't know if it's the same thing. The twin flames is you. If you can't believe in that type of thing, then it's not real. So, when one person sees it but the other person can't see it, then it's like, all you can really do is just, all I can do is just like allow myself to believe that it's just being taken for granted. Because that's a thing. People do that. I do it. I'm doing it right now. These are all things I could be talking to her about, but instead I'm going to talk to myself in the woods with my camera pointing at me. Because now I'm sullen. And all of the things that I was loving doing over the past few days I shut down. Fuck, I hate you. It's like, why did she have to come into my life? I hate that answer so fucking much. What was the answer? Because you wouldn't have made it this far without her. And if you want to be a real narcissist about it, We could argue that she wouldn't have made it this far without you. Shut up. Why did that trigger? I'm really doing this right now. Why did that trigger me? Because too good to be true. How about that? There you go. That's an idea that's too good to be true. Have any of these other mystical, magical things that have happened throughout the past 5 years, have they also been too good to be true? Some of them, yes. But not all of them. No, not all of them. Some. But I feel more comfortable with the idea that this is also one of those things that are too good to be true. Because if I don't like the feeling that comes with if it's going to end, then why even start it? How about that? There you go. If it's just going to not be at one point, then why even bring it into existence? There's no reason for it. If the purpose of it is to be dead on arrival, then just leave it dead. Why try to resurrect something that's not even there? I mean, it's not like none of that shit's even real. It's all fairy tale stuff. You're catching that, right? I am. Why is it that matters of the heart? When it comes to matters of the heart, it's too good to be true. But when it's anything else, it's perfectly logical. Like, for some reason, like, just this one fucking thing can't be true, but everything else around it can be. I don't understand that. Fine, yeah. I'm not saying it's all bullshit. But here's the fact of the matter. We still got another hour. Here's the fact of it. And this is facts. I got the fucking notes. I have all the fucking receipts. Is quite simply that it's too good to be true. Because here's what happens. And I know the pattern. This is not the first time I've been. This is not my first rodeo, by the way. Everyone goes away. Everybody's temporary. Everybody's replaceable. And if my theory is correct, right? Once we're out of each other's lives, the universe will find a way to replace us with someone better for the other one. Have you ever considered shut the fuck up? Why? It just answered your other question. You asked why this keeps looping back around. That's not what I meant. You didn't know that's what you meant, but it is. The reason it keeps looping back around is because you both start to realize that there's someone better out there. Shut the fuck up. You still wear that bracelet, though. I wear it because it's a trophy. Just like I wear my ex-wedding ring. I wear the ring that my brother gave me. I wear my dead father's ring that he never wore. It's a trophy. I don't think that's true. I don't give a fuck what you think. I don't require external validation. I can simulate it in my head. Because of my inspired actions. I'm a fucking Man-Wytch. This is what I do for a living. I cast a spell on myself. I did a ritual. About 2 years ago. Almost 2 years ago. 27 months ago. About. It wasn't intentional at first until I saw what was going on around me. There was forces involved with that like were beyond my control. That I knew that it was gonna work. I knew it. There was no fucking doubt. There's no way that everything had led up to this point and everything is just so perfectly aligned. It was a moon ritual. It was a pre-recorded moon ritual that was part of a 6-week course on witchcraft. And the last week just happened to be, it just fucking happened to fall on a new moon. Cancer new moon. You don't think they planned it that way? No, because it was pre-recorded fucking like 6 months earlier. By the time I was a part of it, it was do at your own pace. And I just happened to start it 6 weeks prior. I didn't even realize it. You don't think that was a subconscious thing? If it was, and I don't deny that it wasn't entirely, I think it was more deep unconscious. I'd say it was probably the layer underneath my unconscious. That was where the future was actually setting me up. Throwing ideas to the past. What advice would you give your past self? I would tell him to study witchcraft. And I would tell him to write it down in his journal so that 6 months in the future, he can look back on that journal and go, holy shit. But I did this ritual because that was the end exam, was to perform your own ritual. Well, I mean, with the group, but also for yourself. The idea is that being in that collective and that all of those people doing it all at once, focusing on what it is that they want, that it would intensify the power of it. But now, what I think a lot of people usually get like confused, and I know looking back on it, like what advice would you give to your past self is don't forget to include in your ritual that everybody else gets what they want to. Because I think that you might be the only person thinking that right now. I don't think you're the only person that's just solely focused on what you want. Even though my ritual was not entirely just for my own, satisfying my own ego, which I was pretty impressed about. There's a thing with magic. A lot of people get into witchcraft for love magic. Love magic and money magic. Those are the main reasons. I mean, if you, just based on my observations. That's why my girl Man-Wytch, she's doing a 3rd round of fucking Witchy Rich. People just want money. She's making a lot of money doing that too. The unfortunate thing is, I could be wrong. This is just my own speculation. This is the message coming to me, but her focus has actually become so much about money that I hate to say this, but it's possible that she lost the way. Hit a roadblock. I don't know where to go from here. This. There's a thing about love magic and just magic in general. And this goes with curses and hexes. Love magic, that's a curse. You're literally putting a curse on someone. I want this person to fall in love with me. I want my ex back. I want this back. I want this. I want that. How do you know that's what they want? How about this instead? I want this person to have the worst luck. I want them to lose all their money. I want them to suffer. Yeah, maybe it's because of your own suffering that's making you want to pass your suffering on to somebody else. All right. Here's my philosophy with doing curses and hexes, because I did do some work. I did some studying on them. I had been working with them for a long time. Like, I've known about my powers for a while. I used to curse people regularly. Not regularly, but I did it enough times to see that when I do it, I get results. And it's scary. Now, is it a coincidence? Sure. One man's miracle is another man's coincidence. One man's curse is another man's blessing. Now, if one man could see both ways at the same time, that's a whole different story. That's what separates magic people from not magic people. But the fucked up thing is, some magic people aren't as magic as they say they are. I think it's in the blood. I think. It's like the Force. It's like a Jedi. Everyone's got the door open just a teeny tiny bit. Some people are born with the door wide open. Other people are born with the door fucking just open a crack. Other people are born and the fucking door is locked. Other motherfuckers are born and the door is wide open. Some people have to work a little harder for it. Some people it comes a little more naturally. It just depends on how far it's calling you to progress. Because there's something on the other side of the door that's banging. Because it's letting you know it's there. My door is locked. I can only see the darkness. I was living in the dark for a long time, but that doesn't mean I didn't believe. And every hex and curse that I put on someone there was good intention for myself. I need this guy out of my life. He's getting in the way between me and this woman. Just let something happen to him. This guy's part of the reason I got fired. One guy's wife died in a car accident. One guy got Lyme's disease a week later. Another guy's wife had an affair and left him. How do you know those were bad things? I don't now. But when I finally when I finally looked into the mechanics of curses and hexes and how it works, there's this desire that comes on to actually do these things to people, because when you read into it, it wakes up that part of you that goes, yeah. Oh yeah, I know exactly who this is going on. But that's kind of like the test. That's where the dark side tests you. And even light. Do unto others as you would do unto yourself. Don't be so quick to put a fucking curse on somebody until you're ready to put that shit on yourself. Don't put a fucking love spell on somebody until you're ready to put it on yourself first. I put a spell on myself to fall in love with myself. But I already had that on me. I already had it. But just to wake it up, so I would stop hating myself so much. But when it came time to do my ritual, I made it into a love ritual. And the idea, like I was saying before, like the idea with magic is you gotta think ahead and behind and right now. So my ritual was all about becoming the man of her dreams. The man of this woman's dreams. That could actually make her happy and smile before bed, excited to wake up the next morning, because this man is a part of my life. So my ritual is about my offering, my sacrifice, are all the parts of me that make me not that person. Who coincidentally just happens to be exactly who I've always seen in my head. So I don't mind. Because if the one person that this person is looking for is the same person that I see in my head, who I've always wanted to be, alright. Kill two birds with one stone. Worst case, I cursed myself. But one of the valuable lessons I learned from studying black magic and performing it against myself is that every curse is a blessing in disguise. Every blessing is a curse in disguise. The trick is to be able to see it from both perspectives. How is that a curse? Look at me. I haven't been able to get this woman out of my head for 2 years. That's the most painful part. That was going on before the ritual. The ritual was in part what I heard her telling me in my head. Believe that or not. Because there was a time, we don't talk about it. And I have a hard time talking about it at all. Is this psychic thing that was going on. That I tried to explain a couple times, and she had acknowledged once. But when she acknowledged it, I knew it wasn't her blowing smoke up my ass because I was thinking the exact same thing was happening. All she did was she just said my thoughts at me, which made me go, okay, yep. And over time, like I imprinted on her. And it had only been going on, we had known each other for a couple years, but it never got like that before. Like, I liked being around her. Like, the few times I would see her, like, I would go out of my way, because I liked seeing her. I like seeing her face. I like talking to her. It's like one of my favorite things. So anytime the opportunity presented itself, and it was never pre-calculated either. It was always just like right place, right time. Divine timing, which is a thing that I believe in. I had no idea I was even going to meet her in the first place. And when I did, it was like, this is a woman I want to spend the rest of my life with. That's literally what went through my head. It never happened like that before. Like, it never happened like that before, ever. I mean, lust, that's not a thing I'm not familiar with. That's typically what would happen. When I would see a woman that kind of like turned on all the triggers at once. But this was different. I had never experienced that before. It flipped on a switch that had never been turned on before. Along with all the other ones, of course. Because there was feelings attached that I was completely unfamiliar with. And I knew what it was. I knew what it was from our first conversation together. We have the same wounds, just in reverse. But the more that I got to know her, the more I wanted to know more. And then actually 2 years ago, on the 2nd of June, which was the 3rd anniversary of when I started writing. Which is funny because she actually has that journal. That's fucked up. There's a song playing that's like perfectly aligned with the thought process going on. So as I'm talking, like there's this movie playing in my head. So I'm like watching it, going, "What the fuck?" It's actually Sleep Token Alkaline. Well, you know, another thing about that band is like, I said they were Man-Wytches. Because everything they do is magic. Like if you go deep enough in magic theory and magic operations and disciplines thereof, like everything that they're doing is considered magic. Not in the fucking woo-woo sense. I mean, not just in the woo-woo sense. I mean, you can throw the woo-woo thing in there too, but if you take the woo-woo out and really look at what they're doing, it's like, that's how you do it. That's how magic works. It's not necessarily about making music with it. I mean, you can. Lots of people do that. And they know that they're doing it too. There's lots of fucking witches and fucking wizards all throughout fucking the music industry. And I don't think any of them aren't blatant about it. I mean, if you look at Slipknot, what's that? What they have fucking like 12-sided star or 9-sided star? Billy Velo and him. The Harticle. Like that symbol that him and Billy Velo use. Like it talks to me. I know what it says. Like it has a meaning to it. I don't know if this is the the defined meaning that they gave it, but that's what it's telling me. I said Aleister Crowley before. Aleister Crowley was this guy. He was a magician. Not a stage magician pulling rabbits out of hats. He was like the real deal. And the reason I know he was the real deal because I also study the work of the people that were part of the same groups as him when he was first being initiated into magic world. Groups that were kind of like the Freemasons, but not. Wasn't a he-witch organization because the members weren't restricted to just being men. There was women allowed in there too. But what? He had a philosophy. A divine philosophy. People say it's a religion. I don't think it was meant to be a religion per se. But, well, no, knowing what he knew, actually one of the rules is not to make a religion. It's not one for other people to follow, at least. Make one for yourself, but that's kind of the point of a religion, is to make your own religion. But his personal religion was called Thelema, and the main motto of it is "Do as thou wilt." Basically means there's a hummingbird. I don't know if you can see him. It's right up on that cord right there. Do you see it? Aw, fucker. He flew off. I mean, that's only half of the motto. Do as thou wilt is the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will. Meaning, do as thou wilt. Because as long as there's love behind what you're doing, then you're carrying out the law. Divine law. And the hymn logo says the same thing. In a different kind of way. Or maybe in the same exact way. It's putting a heart, love, over divine will, which is the downward point of a pentacle. If you look at like downward pentacle, the one that's usually associated with Satanism, the meaning behind that is that divine, the spirit is beneath the physical, as in the physical is more importance than the spiritual side of things. Some would argue that that's not what it means, but that's what it means traditionally. I don't think people realize that Satanism took that symbol. Even that symbol, there's a symbol of Baphomet that the Church of Satan uses. That's not Satan. It's just that the Church of Satan saw that image, went, oh, that's really cool, and they took it. That's what happened. Because they in a sense, they knew what it meant. And I'm not saying that's not what it means. It does to a degree, but it also goes deeper than that. Like when the pentacle is pointing upwards, it usually represents the divine, how the divine is in control of everything that's beneath it. On the flip side, what it's saying is that just as the divine in heaven is above everything below it and connected to it, the same goes for the dark side. That above and below are really just perspectives of the same thing. Up is down when you're standing upside down. But I don't know if that goes over. Basically what it's saying is that just as the divine lives in the light, the divine also has room in the dark too, that it operates from. It's called divine darkness. It's something that people don't get too often. I recently brought it up in a group, and someone went, this divine darkness garbage. No, that's actually a thing. Because as above, so below. As on earth, so it is in heaven. But just as it is in hell, so it is on earth. Why would a man study witchcraft? Why wouldn't he? If you study magic, any discipline of magic, witchcraft is a discipline of magic. It's a natural kind. It's more natural than all the other shit. What's witchcraft? Witchcraft is unregulated Judaism, basically. It's open source Judaism. Witchcraft. What? I mean, I keep saying witchcraft, but I mean, you can throw paganism in there as well. Oh, you're a pagan. Man-Wytch makes more sense to me. Different kind of pagan. So, they better get in touch with my feminine side. To have a better understanding of my feminine side. That is the best reason for a man to study witchcraft is that if you don't know how to get in touch with your sensitive side, like if you don't know how to get in touch with your feminine side, you're kind of fucked, right? I mean, I feel like that's not a unfamiliar idea. Like, it's important to have a balanced masculine and feminine side. That's how I've been taught, at least. But the feminine side is all about feelings, and not everybody likes to feel things. But that's the secret sauce with any kind of magic. You have to feel it. Like, if you're not willing to allow yourself to feel the spectrum of emotions that are required to bring a desired result into manifestation, then you don't deserve it. It's not about just getting what you want. It's about getting what you want because what you want wants you back. If you want something, all right? If you want something, you have to, not just that you have to put the work in for it. That's very easy to do. And there's no doubt about that. Like, magic, just because you practice magic, doesn't mean that you don't have to do things. To make what you want happen. Aleister Crowley gave like a really good example. As to define magic, what is it? How do you define magic? It's the art and science Do you feel better? Yeah. Sorry. I still have feelings. I don't know what to tell you. And you have to be able to feel what it is that you want. You have to be willing to lose what it is that you want. You have to be willing to feel what it's like to feel like you're never going to get what you want, ever. And you're always going to be in this constant state of perpetual motion and never going anywhere. That's the key. Yeah, but if you want something, how do you make yourself not want it? That's the magic. Because when you could pull it off, when you could actually put yourself in that place, that's when the real magic starts to happen, because everything else that you want will start to happen except for the one thing that you do want. And then it's like, but I got all of these things. The fuck do I do with them? And these are all the things I don't want. But my young Padawan, all of those things are giving you the necessary training. Think of them like the prerequisites for the bigger lessons that you need to learn in order to become who it is that you need to be in order to do that thing that you need to do. Because right now, if that entire responsibility, if that job fell on your head, if you become the President of the United States tomorrow, do you have any idea what you would do? Or would you fuck it up? I'd probably fuck it up. See what I mean? You failed before you even began. Have you learned your lesson yet? I think I have. Do tell. You only fuck up what you know you're gonna fuck up. If you're not confident enough to walk that tightrope, you're not gonna walk it. Because you know you're gonna fall. So, how do you get rid of the scaredy pants that's too afraid to walk the tightrope? Put the safety net underneath him. Put the safety net underneath him, and then once he's about halfway, pull that motherfucker out. Now what are you gonna do? Now you have no choice but to get to the other side, asshole. Because you're gonna be a lot more scared coming back than you are going forward. I'm reading this fantastic book. It's called Jewish Wisdom for Business Success. Right there. The Naked Man, that's Saturn. And the other books in there are The Fourth Dimension by Rudolf Steiner, and A Cult of Occult Something by Rudolf Steiner, Splinter in the Mind's Eye. But what we're talking about here is the same principle that was posed to the Jews who were escaping the Egyptians. You said a Man-Wytch. You didn't say you were Jewish. A Christian. Nope. Anti-Christian. Which is open source Judaism. But while Moses and the Jews were kind of lost, stuck, they hit a glass wall. They couldn't move forward because of the Red Sea. Sea of reeds. What was happening was they were stuck there, and you had the Egyptian army that was coming after them. Pharaoh was pissed, dude. So there was 4 groups that were in this, what the fuck do we do? One group said, We should kill ourselves. Just take our knives and just slit our throats. Fuck them. I ain't going back to that shit. Sorry. I'm nobody's fucking slave no more. Next group said, fuck it, let's fight. Let's go out in a fucking blaze of glory. Next group. Maybe we should... Maybe we should just go back. Just surrender. I think Moses was the fourth group, if I'm remembering correctly. I'm not an expert in Judaic philosophy. Well, I'm more of an expert than most people. Fucking read Hebrew. Visual Hebrew. Not audible Hebrew. Moses goes, you see the Egyptians now, but this is the last time you're ever going to see them. Basically saying, there's no going back. You've crossed the threshold. Don't fucking kill yourself over it, because... Patience! Just show a little patience, people. Just calm the fuck down. David didn't beat Goliath so that we could fucking bow down to the fucking Egyptians after fucking tell them to suck our fucking collective dicks. After slapping it on the table a couple times. Reminding them, nigga, you picked the wrong motherfucker to fuck with. Because God told me that your dick isn't big as you told me it was. And maybe small is the new big. It's moderate. Gets the job done. I've seen it get the job done, which is why I endorse it. Fully. Well, that confirms a theory. Alright. Just wait. And the fucking Red Sea will fucking part itself for you. Just don't even fucking worry about it. Come on. And what had happened? The fucking Red Sea fucking parted. These motherfuckers got across. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, dickheads. Sprechen the dick. Thanks for the paycheck. But... you people are fucked up. Real fucked up. You can thank the Jews, by the way, for all of this. If not for them, you'd probably still be fucking Egyptian slaves. What goes around, comes around. He was indeed kings. But the lesson here is more than just be patient. Don't be afraid to express yourself and express your feelings in however best way it fits you. Be it being willing to fucking slice your own throat for what you believe in. Don't be fucking slicing nobody else's throat until you're ready to do it to yourself. Anything else is uncivilized. Same thing with cursing. Don't put a curse on nobody unless you're willing to put it on numero uno first. Not me, you. You fucking throw a curse on me. I don't give a fuck. I love curses. I eat them shits for breakfast. Some motherfucker just put fucking COVID on me. But now, that gets us back into magic, and there's another really cool spell. It's called a reflection spell. More popularly coined as Return to Sender. People will put curses on you, no doubt. Without even realizing it. Most people don't even realize that they're doing it. Because we've been trained to believe that magic isn't real. You know, everybody knows. Teeny tiny bit. Deep, deep, deep down inside. I'm not fucking with this shit at all. No, but there are some people who have to. Why? To make sure that it's being regulated, that it's being, doesn't need to be regulated. Again. Because the last time it got regulated, millions of people got fucking burnt at the goddamn stake. I'm not talking about the Jews. The other people that got thrown into the proverbial gas chamber. The make-believe people that don't exist. Yeah, they don't exist anymore because you fucking burnt them all, you fucking jerk-offs. Not all of them. Luckily, there are people out there that hide in plain sight, that keep it alive. So that one day, the right people can find it. Which is typically the people crazy enough to actually believe this shit's real. Oh, I said crazy. And weird. Really weird. Is he weird? Not a bad weird. Well, how weird is he? Good weird. Not bad weird. Cool weird. Even if it means surrendering and going, I give up, I give up, I give up. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm too scared. Did you notice how, as we were going through the Jews, each one of them was experiencing a different perspective of what we would call a negative emotion? And they were allowing themselves, Moses was allowing them to get that shit out. Because here's the thing. Those Egyptians, they were feeling the same shit that those people were feeling. I don't know if we should do this. I don't know how to explain it, but I got a bad idea about this. But they said, fuck it, let's keep on going. Don't believe in that crazy Jew magic. It's crazy. I don't know. All those plagues and shit. What happened? God was waiting for those fucking Egyptians to show right the fuck up before they fucking opened up the floodgates. This way they can go back home and go tell your masters what you saw here today. Let them know this shit wasn't just in their heads. Maybe next time you'll think twice before fucking with a Jew. Ugh, and that was before they were even called Jews. They weren't called Jews back then. So what was a Jew before they were a Jew? Just like Jesus wasn't a Christian, Moses wasn't a Jew. He came from a very specific bloodline. Just like, well, Jesus. God. I feel like I'm walking into a world of fucking kindergartners. Well, basically. Well, that's not bad. I mean, I guess that means that maybe my whole New World Order thing really was... Yeah, it makes sense. I think I did it. I think I made it to the top of the pyramid. I hope so. Actually what I'm hoping, speak it into existence. What I'd like to see is that my lady friend is actually like the key component that's going to secure mine and our future at the tippy top of the pyramid and the bottom of the pyramid at the same time, because you got to look at it like two pyramids at once. One's pointing up and one's pointing down. Looks like the Jewish star.